Now we are going to study lens. Okay. Now what is lens? A lens is a portion of transparent refracting medium bound by two spherical surface, or one is spherical surface and other is plane surface. So here, as you can see, so this is the a picture of lens. So this is the picture of lens. Okay. Now in this picture we have to know what is C1 and C2, N1 and N2. So this portion of lens is a part of this circle. Okay, and this portion of lens is a part of this circle. Okay, so this point is called this point is called O. Okay, optical point. Okay, O, optical point O. This point is called optical point O, and C is the center of curvature, and C2 is the also center of curvature, and O is the optical point. So now the lenses are two types. There are two types of lens. One is convex or converging lens, and other is concave or diverging lens. So this is convex lens and this is concave lens. The basic difference is that in convex lens the middle portion is thicker and the middle portion of concave lens is thinner. Okay, this is the basic difference. And the definition of convex lens and concave lens is here. Convex lens, a lens whose thickness decreases from middle towards the edge, is called convex or converging lens. Okay, and the concave lens, a lens whose thickness is increased from the middle towards the edge, is called the concave or diverging lens. So you can see from the figure. So as we go along the arrow, so the thickness decreases, and as we go along the arrow, so the thickness is increasing. Okay, some term associated with the lenses. Center of curvature. This is the center of curvature. Okay, what is the center of curvature? This is the center of curvature. So this is the center of curvature. Okay, so for this portion the center of curvature is C1, and for this portion the center of curvature is C2. Okay, for this portion the center of curvature is C1, and for this portion the center of curvature is C2, and the distance we call the point O. Okay, this point is called O. So the distance OC1 is called the radius of curvature. Okay, now some term. This is the definition of center of radius. A lens whose convex or concave has two spherical surfaces. Each of these surfaces forms a part of a sphere. The center of this sphere is called the center of curvature. So you can see from this figure. So this is the figure. This portion is a part of a sphere. If we draw the circle, okay, so this is the center. Okay, So this center, so this is called the center of curvature, and this is for concave lens. Now the principal axis, this line is called principal axis. Okay, this line is called principal axis. So the definition of principal axis. So this is the definition of principal axis. An imaginary straight line passing through center of curvature of two surface of lens is called principal axis of lens. Okay, so this is the lens. So for this surface, this is the center, and for this surface, this is the center, and the line joining of this center of curvature is the straight line passing through this point C1 and C2 is called the principal axis. And the next, aperture. The aperture is the length of the diameter of the circular edge of the lens. AB is the diameter of the edge of the lens, which represents the aperture of the lens. So what is the aperture of lens in figure? So you can see this is the aperture of the lens AB. Okay, this is the aperture of lens, and in this case this is the aperture of lens AB. Okay, and optical center, this is a very important question. What is optical center? The optical center of a lens is a point on a principal axis such that the ray, any ray through this, emerges parallel to the direction of incidence. Okay, so if the ray, look at the ray PQ. PQ is the incident ray, and after refraction it passes along QR. Okay, and again at the point of R, the refraction occur, and after refraction it passes along RS. So you can see PQ and RS is parallel. PQ and RS is parallel. Okay, so this is the definition of optical center. Okay, and the ray will suffer only some lateral displacement as shown in the figure. Okay, note, if we took a thin lens, so definition is changing. The definition of optical point changes. What is the definition? Optical center of a thin lens. Remember, this is thin lens. This is the definition for thin lens. This is the definition for thin lens, not in general case. Okay, so this is the definition of optical center of a thin lens is a fixed point of the axis of the lens such that if a ray be directed towards this point, it passes undeviated through this lens. So যদি এমন একটা পয়েন্ট, অপটিক্যাল পয়েন্ট এটা এমন একটা পয়েন্ট যে পয়েন্টের মধ্য দিয়ে আলো গেলে কোনো লাইটের কোনো হবে না, ডেভিয়েশন ঘটবে না, অর্থাৎ সোজা ওই পথ দিয়েই চলে যাবে, যেমনটা তোমরা ছবিতে দেখছো, as you can see in the figure. তাহলে আমরা কি শিখলাম? যে যদি পাতলা লেন্স হয় তাহলে অপটিক্যাল পয়েন্ট হচ্ছে এমন একটা পয়েন্ট, সাচ এ পয়েন্ট, সেই পয়েন্ট দিয়ে যে লাইট পাস করে তাহলে সেই লাইটের কোনো ডেভিয়েশন ঘটবে না। দেখতে পাচ্ছি লাইটটা সোজা বেরিয়ে চলে গেছে, ঠিক আছে? কিন্তু এটা কিন্তু আমরা যখন বলেছিলাম এটা ইন জেনারেল কেস, এটা কিন্তু থিন লেন্স নয়, ইন জেনারেল কেস হচ্ছে এটা। কিন্তু যদি থিন লেন্স হয় তাহলে সোজা অপটিক্যাল লেন্সের মধ্য দিয়ে গিয়ে সোজা চলে যাবে, ঠিক আছে? Okay, now this is a question. Here is some good question. What is thin lens? A lens whose thickness is negligible compared to the radius of curvature of its two surfaces is called thin lens. The second definition, what is principal focus? The lens has two principal focus, very important. First principal focus. It is the point of principal axis such that a ray moving towards that point or diverging from that point become parallel to the principal axis after refraction. So you can see this is the point from which the light ray comes, and after refraction it passes like parallel, it passes parallelly. Okay, so this point is f1 is called principal focus, and the distance OF1 is called f1 focal length. So the distance f1 from the optical center O a lens is called the first principal focal length. And what is the second principal focal length? Focals. So this is the definition. It is the point on the principal axis such that the incident ray moving parallel to the principal axis after refraction either appear to diverge from this point or actually converge to this point. So as you see, this is the point parallel ray, and after refraction it meets at a point. So this is called the second principal focus, f2, and the distance OF2 is called f2, second principal focal length. Okay, the distance f2 of f2 from optical center O of the lens is called the second focal length. Now this is the alternative definition of focal length, principal focal length and second principal focal length. Okay, so the first principal focus of the lens is the position of point object on the principal axis of lens for which the image formed is at infinity, and the second principal focus f2 of the lens is the position of an image point on the principal axis of the lens when the object is situated at infinity. Yes, the distance OF2 is equal to f2 is the second principal focus length. Okay, so this is the first principal focus, this is the second principal focus, and this is the first principal focus. So lens has two focal length, okay, but the mirror has one focal length.